And good morning, everybody. This fine February morning, San Luis Obispo County. We're so glad you guys could join us here on Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy. In the studio with me today is Nicki Anderson. Billy is away on assignment.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Nicki. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Good to see
you. Haven't seen you in a long time.
I know. We saw you briefly for 45 minutes last week.
Yeah.
I think it was.
That was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
And then we're off and running our separate ways.
Yes,
right?
we are.
So we got a fun show today. We're going to do the morning BM here in just a second. We've got what golf rule, one golf rule would you change if you could? I have several. So
I have one in particular.
It probably will be more than one. Just see how the conversation carries out. I mean, obviously, 2019 is the year of the rules changes.
Right.
And we could even talk about that, what we think about that so far.
Yeah.
Which I think would be very interesting. Another topic we're going to talk about is if you could interview a PGA player or an LPGA player, who would that be? What would you ask them? We could even go so far as saying why. Mm-hmm. Why would you ask them those questions? I think that's a good one. PGA Tour, which this topic has been in the news off and on over the years, but now it sounds like it's really on the front burner, and that is the distance control for clubs and golf balls.
Yeah.
And I'm a little mixed on it, to be honest. As a fan, I think as a fan, I understand from a sport perspective, but also as a fan, what that could mean if it was changed. And then we've got a new possible golf tour coming in place, which it sounds like it's going to happen, the Premier Golf Tour challenging the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
And
talk about mixed feelings.
That's dealing with history. That's messing with history right there. You know what I mean? Like if this tour happens, which I'm sure in some way, shape, or form it will, it'll change everything. I mean, it will. I don't know. Change is weird because a lot of people, when they have change, they don't like change.
Yeah.
But a lot of times change is good too.
Right.
So
exactly.
So we'll round out with that. Then we've got Ponder This. If you want to listen to the show on our podcasts, you can do that by visiting golftalkradio.com anytime, and our podcast page is there. You can download any episode you want. We have many, many apps out there that you can get the show on. If you guys are listening on the radio live now, you can also tune into BakersfieldESPN.com and tune in on the live stream, or 920kvec.com from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. today, and catch the show then too. So how are things in your world, Nicki?
Busy.
Busy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. You go along in life and you feel like, okay, this is how things are, and get to play a lot of golf, and all of a sudden your life kind of gets turned upside down by something, and you're doing something totally different. It's just crazy.
Does it take you a while to realize, like, oh, this isn't happening anymore?
Yeah.
Like golf.
Yeah, like golf. I mean, seriously, it's been sad news about that. I just haven't been able to play. I've been so busy.
So last week we had you and Jim and I in the studio, Jim DeLobby. And when we left, you had a match on Monday.
Right.
Match play, and I had a match. So I thought it was kind of interesting the way that it ended up for both of us. So,
yes.
So what happened in your match?
Yes. Well, it was really interesting.
Singles match?
It was match play, me against one other person. Yeah, it wasn't team. So it's singles match.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I had actually was supposed to play someone else, and then they withdrew at the last minute. And so I kind of in my mind thought I was moving forward, but then they came up with this person who they wanted to add in because it was the first, that was on a waiting list. And I said, oh, we'll let him go in. So I actually played him.
And you let him come in and play.
Yeah, that's fine.
Interesting.
Whatever.
Gotcha.
So I thought, oh, it'll be fine. I'll be able to knock this guy out. I was super confident. It's like, I'll be able to knock this guy off, no problem. And I started out fine, and then I just I lost my focus or something. It was weird. I don't know. I couldn't get myself back in the game. And then, so I was 4 down at the turn, and I'd always like to be up at the turn on Bay because the front I play much better than the back. But then on the back,
What's this guy's handicap?
well, his handicap is 20.
And yours is a 7,
7.
8? Yeah.
Yeah. And I played from the whites, so my handicap gets bumped up because of the harder, longer course. And so I had to end up giving him 7 strokes. So,
which is a lot. That is a lot. That's a lot.
And here's the interesting thing about that. I'll explain and then I'll say something else. But anyway, I get to the back 9, and all of a sudden I just get pissed at myself. Will you put yourself together here?
Yeah.
And I ended up going birdie. I birdied the par 5, which is 14.
On the back.
Yeah, on the back.
Which is not easy.
And then I parred, and then I birdied the next par 5.
Wow.
And then I parred. That's how I ended up. And I was up 1 on 16th. After 16, I was up 1.
Wow.
But he had pops on 17 and 18, and he parred both of those.
Which you're doomed at that point.
So it's just like,
you can't.
What can I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to finish on there.
But I
sure.
played so well coming in. I felt really good about, you really even though you were behind, you had every reason just to blow it all off. I was proud of myself for that. But when I thought about after that, is handicapping is so interesting when it comes to match play because there's different kinds of people. There's the people who play very consistently over the holes, whether they play, they par or they bogey or double bogey, whatever it is, but you can consistently play. Then there's the people that they're not consistent at all. They can par or even birdie holes, but then they'll have like a 9 or an 8 or something like that on a couple holes.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps their handicap high. But when you go play them in match play, each hole is by itself. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't help me that he gets a 9 and I get a 4. You know what I mean? I win 1 hole. And then he goes in pars, and I'm giving him strokes. So it's funny. It's tough in match play.
Well, and I wonder, because another part of that, just to tag in, like we were talking about, our match ended up going 18 holes. It almost went playoff. Mm-hmm. I was hoping it was going to. It didn't.
I was hoping that too.
You have a lot of these matches and these match plays. I mean, you can have them finish after 13 holes.
Right.
So there is a procedure for posting a score for that.
Right.
And most people don't.
Really?
There's a lot of people that do not. And so what ends up happening is, or if they do, they play in. So let's say your match is over, on the 14th hole. Right. And you're like, out of courtesy, you might say you lost and you're not feeling great about it, but out of courtesy, you're going to finish the 18 holes, right? And as long as there haven't been a lot of big pickups and things like that, right? Then you could post the score if everybody's putting out, because maybe you're playing skins in that match play, which we do a lot. And you'll see guys, like whether it's on purpose or not, I don't know about women, but playing with the guys, you'll see guys kind of start tanking on the last 5 holes, And when I say tanking, I'm not even sure they're doing it on purpose. I think because the round's over, in a sense, the match play's over.
Right.
I'm going to take a driver on this hole because I don't.
Yeah. Why?
I don't really care. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything, but I've always wanted to try this.
Right.
And there is a procedure. I'll have to look it up. I can't remember if it's every hole that you get a stroke on the remaining holes after the match is over. I think you have to take a net bogey.
Right.
And a lot of these guys, for instance, they're not taking a net bogey. They're making like a double. They're making a triple.
Right.
And then they come in and they post their score at the end. And like you said, my point is it inflates or maintains their higher handicap.
Right.
And when I say higher, it might be only 3 or 4 strokes higher. But that's a big deal in match play.
In match play,
that's a lot.
Big deal.
So our match on Monday, which was a 2-person match, guys and gals. Ours happened to be 2 guys, and we're 2 guys too, right? So it's 4 guys. So I'm a 5, Ryan's a 5 who we're playing against. Art, who's my partner, is I think he's like a 9, and then Mark, who is on there, I think he's like an 11 or a 13. So it really comes down to Art. It's really come down to Art and Mark. Mm-hmm. And just like what you said, I mean, we're cruising along. Mark had a good few holes, and I've played with these guys before, so I know how they play. And we made the turn at 2 up, and the first like 5 holes was just a dogfight, back forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, Art and I got a few holes out of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the back, and we're still hanging in there. We get to 13, and I make a birdie. I put it like on a par 3. I put it like probably 7 feet from the hole. I make my birdie putt. Well, it turned out, and I didn't know it at the time, which was probably better. Mark 2-putted from a long putt on the green, got par, so we tied. I thought we were 3 up. We ended up being 2 up. And then that's when it started. Like, all of a sudden, Mark, because he made that par, here comes some of the hardest handicap holes on the course. Right? So now he's in, just like what you said, the pops are at the end, right?
Right.
So you do feel the pressure. I mean, you kind of know. You know when you stand on the tees, you get to the end of match play, everybody's in the group is kind of either talking amongst each other, to each other as a team, or you're talking as a group because you're trying to figure out who's going to stroke.
Right.
So you're standing on the tee box going, okay, he's got this, he's got that. So it's kind of an interesting, I like it. I think it's kind of cool. It's almost like kind of playing Skimple in a way.
Right.
But we get up there and we keep tying, we tie, and then we get to 15, I think we got to 14, and they won 14. So now we're up 1. We tie on 15, and then we get to 16 at Paso, and both the guys, Mark and Ryan, are up there. They're first. They hit both their tee shots. Looks like they're way out of bounds. And Art and I go right down the middle of the fairway. We're both sitting in great spots. So, and the reason I'm telling you this is because of the attitude, like the mental is like you're going off the tee going, oh, we're in a really good spot, right?
Right.
So we get up there to our balls, and we're trying to help the guys find theirs. And we look way down by the green, by the cart path starts near the bunker on the green on 16, and there's Mark's ball. Somehow, some way, I have no idea, it stayed in, and he's got a really hard shot to go over the bunker into a back left pin, and he sticks it to like 3 feet. And we haven't even hit our shots into the green yet. And you could just feel, I hate that. I try to stay mentally positive.
Yeah.
You could just feel the momentum totally shift at that point. I've got a 40-yard pitch for my second shot. Art's got a 70-yard shot in. Art's kind of close. I'm not.
Yeah.
I tried to hit some stupid little shot that I shouldn't hit. I'm on the green, but it's a really long putt.
Yeah.
And so Mark sinks his putt. So then we get on 17, and it's like, and then they're like, oh, we're 1 up. So now we got 2 holes left, and they're 1 up. And 17, they win. It wasn't terrible, but Art and I didn't hit very good shots.
Yeah.
They had 2 great putts. They both hit the green. We get on 18. They both hit theirs in the water on 18. And so I drove mine down. I got about 70 yards into the green. Art's got like 170. He hits a great shot, hits the center of the green, and rolls up the top of the back green, which is double tiered at Paso, and it stays up on the top. It's like all these little things that you never really see happen, right?
Right.
So I hit my wedge. It hits the top up above the bunker, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. It's going to bounce to the pin.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it comes back, it spins back, and it rolls across the collar and down into the bunker. So I'm like, all right. So then Ryan sticks his to like from a drop from the water hazard. He sticks it to like 8-10 feet of the hole. So I hit my bunker shot. I'm about 12 feet from the hole, and I hit a pretty good shot, right? So we get up there, and it's Ryan and I now. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So I get up there, and I make my putt. And I'm like, oh, I was so stoked because I was like,
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it was a really big deal.
Yeah.
And Ryan gets up there and sinks his. So it's a tie. So we lost.
Yeah.
We lost by 1. But it was it's one of those things. And the reason I played it out, it's one of those things where you leave the match and you go, that was really, really fun, but you're pissed.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be happy about my golf and the way I played. I had 2 trouble holes. They weren't terrible. I didn't pick things up. I ended up like 76, which I was very happy with.
Yeah.
Oh, this is also the reason I talk about it. The Nemesis hole number 4 that I talked to Jim about. Visualized, got up there, hit my shot, put it left of the pin about 12 feet from the hole.
Wow.
Almost made birdie, made my par. And so connecting that to last week's show and trying to be positive when you're up over the tee box, and I was more focusing on the feel of a good shot. So kudos to you, Jim DeLobby. And I was very, there's a lot of proud moments in there, right?
There's a lot of good things.
It's like what you said.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Like, I think what it comes down to more than anything is we're both competitive.
We don't
right?
want to lose.
No.
Yeah. I know,
and I've done
it
these
is.
match plays, and I'm losing on 16, 17, and 18 every time. 16, 17, and 18. It's always getting to, and those holes, what it comes down to is the strokes are on 16 and 17.
Right.
They're not on 18 as much. They're on 16 and 17.
Right.
So for me, I don't have to, but even if I par, they're probably going to tie me.
Yeah.
If it's a singles match. In our case with Art, I think he didn't stroke on that hole either.
Yeah.
But
that's why you strategize and you look at the hole. I always do. I look at where the pops are to begin with, and I say, I have got to be X amount up at this point because I can't count on those holes that I'm going to lose pops on.
And that's a tough way. It's good to do that, but I think that's also a tough way to play because that's not, unless you always play match play, I don't always think that way.
Yeah. No, it's a different thought process.
But I love
completely.
it. It's cool.
Yeah.
I think what I more was upset about is I was bummed because we got knocked out. So now we're done.
Yeah. We have a consolation bracket, thankfully.
Yeah. Well, we do too, but we got knocked out on the 17th hole in our first match.
Oh, see, this is my first match.
So I think that's the other thing that adds to the wound. It's like, again?
Yeah.
I felt like we had such good momentum going, and it's just interesting how you feel the tide turn, and that could be in any sport you play.
Yeah. It's a different feeling, though, isn't it, in match play versus stroke play when you don't win? It's a whole different thing.
Way different.
Yeah.
It's fun, though, but I thought it was ironic because I got your text, too, and you're like, I lost on, 18. And I'm like, oh, man, this is a mirror. This is a mirror image. The only difference is you're singles and we're doubles.
Yeah.
You know. But it was fun. We had a good time. So for those of you out there who've played, match play golf or tournament golf, hopefully you'll appreciate our little stories there. So we're going to go ahead. We'll take our first break. We're going to come back with, again, what golf rule would you change if you could? I'm thinking I've got one. I know you've got one. There's some other ones that I think are worthy of discussion. If you guys do want to call the show here, 805-903-1974 is the number, 805-903-1974. And Golf Talk Radio brought to you by TaylorMade Golf. Check out the latest from TaylorMadeGolf.com today. The new Sim drivers and Sim Max hybrids, fairway woods, and irons. Stay with us. We'll be right back.